This is shocking. In the study, participants were shown speeches by members of Congress from 1873 to 2016 and asked to guess whether the speech was given by a Republican or Democrat. When the speech was given in years before the 1990s, participants correctly guessed the party only slightly more than half the time. There is no left and right. But the figures spiked dramatically in 1994, and by 2010, participants' guesses were correct 73% of the time. What happened in 1994? And why is it that in the philosophies of stages of awareness, no philosopher puts left and right? It doesn't freaking exist. It is an American media invention by this man, Newt Gingrich, 1994, Contract for America. What he did was he developed really effective marketing, right? Which is how Americans are now divided. So the Affordable Care Act, rather than call it what it is, Affordable Care Act, and have healthy debates about it, it's certainly not perfect, we call it Obamacare. Here's another example. Of course we are going to debate gun control versus gun rights, but did you know it was once called gun safety, and everyone agreed? See how words can create such a difference, pro-life versus pro-choice. Words divide us. When people are being manipulated, entire television networks use this to gain viewership, because when you're angry, you stay tuned in. And this is what you want to be really conscious of and really careful. Yes, you can dislike Trump. And I was recently on an interview on London Real, and they asked me what I thought about Trump, and I said, he's a good man, and I got slammed for that. Let me explain. I refuse to villainize anyone because I disagree with them. Now, I do want to state, I think he's incompetent, he's immature, he is definitely a racist grandfather, but he's not bad because he says racist comments. It's the era he grew up in. He's incompetent, he shouldn't be president, he's an imbecile. I believe he's dividing America, but I will never say he is evil. Evil is Hitler. There's no comparison. Trump is a man who probably loves America, loves his kids. We may disagree with his business practices, but look, that's like saying, cola companies are evil and McDonald's is evil. If you use that definition, you'd see evil everywhere. So the point is, if you call people racist, if you call people evil, you lose the ability to help them rise up to integral. They stay rooted where they are, at that level. And as Greens, as the leading edge, your job is to compassionately embrace everyone. To disagree, that's fine, but to embrace lovingly and help elevate. Thank you. Now this brings us to the final philosopher. And the question now is, how do we do that, right? And this final philosopher is the guy I call the mystic. That's him, speaking at one of our Mind Valley events. Anybody recognize that man? Yes. Right, he's Neale Donald Walsch, the guy who wrote the Conversations with God book series. I love Neil. His ideas have had a profound impact on my life. His books have probably been the most influential books on me ever. And in Conversations with God, book 1, 2, and 3, Neil talks about this. The first guiding principle of advanced civilizations is unity. He emphasizes this over and over and over again. I started going through those books and circling places where he mentioned unity. He emphasizes it over and over and over again. He says it is the first guiding principle of advanced civilizations. He goes on to say this: social evolution is demonstrated by movements towards unity, not separatism, because unity is the truth. Separatism is the illusion. He goes on to say, the only solution is the ultimate truth. Nothing exists in the universe that is separate from anything else. Everything is intrinsically connected, irrevocably interdependent, interactive, interwoven into the fabric of all of life. All government, all politics must be based on this truth. All laws must be rooted in it. This is the future hope of your race, the only hope for your planet. And so the idea here is, do you have a value for unity? And that unity value, if you understand that, if you go back to what Darwin said, you go back to integral theory, embracing all ideas and seeing the beauty in all of these ideas lovingly while still helping ideas move to the leading edge. You go back to Neale Donald Walsch and understand the importance of unity, you start making the right decisions in your life. But I want to ask you to go further. You can do good in the world, but if you really want to change the world, you got to stand up for unity. Recently, Mind Valley released this video. It became the most watched video in our network. I want to just play it for you and then tell you maybe why we released it.
to build a wall.
I stand for love.
I stand for peace.
I stand for unity,
education,
the environment,
equality.
I stand for refugees.
In an age of dangerous politics, don't let bullies force you to sit down.
to tell you you're being too political or unpatriotic.
When you speak your truth.
To tell you can't stand tall.
Or that you don't belong here.
Speak up.
Rise up.
Unite.
And to those who dare to stand,
Thank you. So the question is, what do you stand for? Do you stand for humanity minus companies? Humanity plus companies? What will you do to ensure that your companies shift towards humanity plus values? What will you do to make sure that the entrepreneurs you mentor or the companies you start are humanity plus companies? Will you build walls or will you break them down? Will you tolerate fear-based politics? Or will you insist that your leaders practice unity-based politics? And unity means unity between the left and right, where we don't villainize each other and we can actually debate issues in a healthy way. Not be adamant for gun control or gun rights, but say, look at gun safety, something we can all agree upon. Ken Wilber says, right now, maybe about 5% of the world is at that level, is at that integral level. And he says, imagine a world if we can get it to 10%. And he says, I predict that that will happen in the next 10 to 20 years. But the beauty of that is that 10% can create ripples that will change the other 90%. They become the leaders at the forefront of change. And he says, and the timing could not be perfect. Because in the next 20 years, that's when we expect it to get really close to artificial intelligence and the singularity and massive disruption in our way of life thanks to algorithms and robotics. And if we don't elevate human consciousness to that level, to a level of unity, where unity is our driving value, unity is what we teach in schools, unity is how we design our products and our companies. Unity means we will sacrifice some shareholder value so we aren't poisoning the human colossus. Unity means we will never call someone who politically disagrees with us a racist or label them a villain. Unity means you can resist a politician you disagree with. You can absolutely protest against Trump. Many of his ideas deserve to be protested against, but you make it about the idea and you don't villainize the 40% plus of Americans who actually voted for him. So if we can do this, we can go for collective growth and create agents of change. We can create a world where people genuinely care about each other. We can be more transparent and human, create more cooperation, and ultimately create a better world for the next generation. All we ask you to do here as part of the Mind Valley community is to think of yourself as a superhero. And as you go forth after this event, remember the world needs powerful people who can stand up for unity. So the 5 questions that you want to ask yourself as you walk out of the room today is, what are you doing to build human consciousness? You don't have to be a teacher or a coach. You could be a CEO, an entrepreneur. How can you create more conscious workplaces, more conscious schools, more conscious hospitals? Is your work humanity plus or humanity minus? If your company you feel might be humanity minus or maybe even humanity neutral, how do you edge them, move them towards humanity plus? How do you widen your circle of we, your circle of what you decide is your family? Is your family just the people in your country? Or is your family the collective human race? How can you grow up into integral thinking and heal the rift within this nation? And finally, will you stand up for unity? Thank you.
If you enjoyed that talk, I encourage you to check out Mindvalley events. There is a ton of events that we do all around the world that are really, really cool. And we like to keep our events at really high levels of intellectual conversation. So you're not going to come to a Mindvalley event and learn about what I call kindergarten personal growth, like law of attraction and things like that. No, we're going to go into deep intellectual stuff. We don't shy away from discussing philosophy and politics or how organized religion needs to be upgraded. If you are a person who enjoys personal growth at a high intellectual level, you got to come to a Mindvalley event. Now, a couple of events you might want to check out. The first is Mindvalley Reunion. Go to mindvalley.com/reunion. It happens once a year in San Diego, and this is where this particular talk was first given. Next, check out Mindvalley U. Go to mindvalley.com/U. This is our new invention to basically replace the need for colleges. It is something you want to check out if you believe that modern education needs to be disrupted. Again, it's mindvalley.com/U. And finally, Mindvalley has a massive global event. It's not for everyone because it's a highly curated community and you do have to apply. It's sort of like TED, where the talks are free for everyone to watch online, but you got to apply to attend in person and be part of the tribe. And it's called A-Fest. You can learn about it on afest.com. So again, those URLs are mindvalley.com/reunion, mindvalley.com/U, and finally, afest.com. Go check these out if you're ever interested in being part of our real-life events at Mindvalley.